Israel's top cybersecurity official, was detained for soliciting sex from a minor and then released back to Israel. Yeah, see, because this happened over the weekend, Israel thought they was gonna sweep this under the rug, but now we gonna talk about this shit. This man, Tom Alexandervich, is the executive director of the Cybersecurity Directorate of Israel. While in Las Vegas at a cybersecurity conference, this man got caught in a sting operation by the FBI and was detained for soliciting sex from a minor. Now, unfortunately, I have to say detained because he was not arrested, because he was sent back to Israel. It has already been said by Israeli officials that Alexandervich, who works directly for Netanyahu, will not face any political consequences for his actions. Surprise, surprise. And when I say he works directly for Netanyahu, that is not hyperbole, ladies and gentlemen. The executive director of the Cybersecurity Directorate in Israel is directly selected, handpicked by the Prime Minister. Man, I wonder what Netanyahu has to say about the fact that the executive director that he picked just got detained for soliciting sex from minors. Oh shit, he ain't got nothing to say. He hasn't said a word at all. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why you can't throw a rock in Israel without hitting a pedo. Because regardless of guilt or innocence, Israel will not extradite anybody from their country, regardless of the crime that they committed in their country of origin, as long as they claim at the time that they're an Israeli citizen. And that includes pedos. And although that includes pedos, it unfortunately is not limited to pedos. Ironically, they use this law of return that allows Jewish people to return to Israel, and ironically disallows Palestinians from returning to their home to protect any and all criminals that seek refuge in Israel. For example, here's the Tinder swindler who actually used women on Tinder, convinced them that he was in love with them, and then stole money from them effectively and hid in Tel Aviv so that he couldn't be held accountable. And there was literally no question of guilt or innocence. They knew he was guilty. They even did a Netflix documentary about the crimes that he committed. And yet and still, Israel protected him. And when I said this right of return has no limits, it has no limits. Another perfect example of this is Samuel Shainbane, who murdered Alfredo Enrique Tello in 1997 and did so with an accomplice, Aaron Needle. All of the boys were 17. However, obviously, Tello lost his life in a brutal murder. Needle actually ended up in prison and killed himself before facing trial because of the insurmounting evidence that would inevitably prove his guilt. But you know what happened to Shainbane? Before the trial, Shainbane's father arranged transportation for him to end up in Tel Aviv and also managed to get him an Israeli passport. So Shainbane wasn't even an Israeli citizen when Israel decided to allow him to flee the law that he broke in the United States, avoid accountability despite the very clear evidence that he was guilty. Now, for some reason, we haven't seen this director's face plastered all over mainstream media. Hell, the few sites that do talk about him try to diminish his role as if he isn't the executive director of this Israeli government institution. As if he wasn't handpicked by Netanyahu, whom they've also managed to avoid asking questions of. But once again, the rules that apply to us don't seem to apply to them. It's no wonder that a group of people that can openly protect child predators and still receive funding from every Western government in the world, that can commit murder in broad daylight and get away with it. Like, it's no wonder that these people are like, yeah, we can commit a genocide. Of course we can. Literally, we can do whatever we want to. We've always done whatever we want to and gotten away with it. So why would this be any different? But everybody, make sure you take a second today, go on social media and mention the creep, weirdo, and the apparent dumbass cybersecurity expert who got caught in a sting operation using his computer to solicit sexual action from a minor.